There it goes.
All right, we appear to be live.
We appear to be live. Oh, man.
So you say we have some fun stuff up front
We did front load the fun stuff today
because we're gonna get into heavy
because
stuff.
the back stuff is gonna be rough. So
Look forward to that.
yeah, here we go. All right, everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's the nice thing about starting off with like Tales from the Crypt before we do the show is it's like we get to have a little bit of funsies in case we have to talk about some heavy shit.
I love that gaming news has turned like hard, like heavy, like
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh
It's
shit!
so-
What kind of news do you do? I'm in gaming news. Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh
bro.
yeah, you're like a
Yo.
war vet at this
Sorry,
point.
bro.
It's like, yeah, I have to fucking do gaming news every week, man.
Yeah.
This job used to be fun, guys.
I was rewatching a really old H Bomber guy video the other night. I sometimes I fall asleep to them, and this was the one about Dark Souls 2. It's like 8 years old, and he talks about what a lucrative career it is to make video games for a living, and I
Right,
was just like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, we used to
a
be.
different time.
Absolutely. All right, you guys ready?
Ready?
Let's do a show. Welcome, everyone, to Good Night and Good Game, your source for geek news for the weeks that were. I'm your host, James, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Hector,
Hello.
and our fantastic producer, John.
It's me.
This week on the show, after the news, we are going to talk about the recent censoring of adult games and what that might mean for you. But before we start, don't forget that you can head over to goodnight.gg, where as a patron of our show, you can suggest topics for us to talk about. Also, as a patron, you get access to our off-week episodes. We are now 3 episodes into our Tales from the Crypt watch, and everybody seems to be having a good time.
Great time.
All right, so the first episode we did drop for free on YouTube and Spotify and all the things, so if you want to go check that out, and then all you have to do is buy in at the dollar level, and you get access to all the Tales from the Crypt episodes. All right, with all that out of the way, it's time to get into the Weekly Raid.
The Weekly Raid.
Welcome, everyone, to the Weekly Raid, your roundup of this week's geek news. This week, we're going to be going over some of the announcements of San Diego Comic-Con, so let's just dive right in. The first thing to note from San Diego Comic-Con that was fun was that Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, revealed a new show called Pluribus. It's going to be an Apple TV show, I believe. And the premise of it, well, I'll just give you the line of it. It's a genre-bending original in which the most miserable person on Earth must save the world from happiness.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm in Gilligan. Look, I've loved his stuff since the X-Files, right? Like, and I loved his stuff that was more like Breaking Bad, and then went back and watched his episodes of the X-Files. But the guy doesn't miss. He's got the talent. He's got the sauce when it comes to writing. So yeah, I will watch. I mean, if you've seen Breaking Bad at all, if you've seen Better Call Saul, like you know what you're in for. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Better Call Saul was one of those shows that I just did not expect to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
I
then
did
just
not. I
what?
would have never said that it could possibly be better than Breaking Bad, but maybe it was.
Maybe
Yeah,
it was. And
Damn.
I felt that way at points while I was watching it because I was like, am I betraying Breaking Bad by saying this might be better?
And I've
Because-
watched it like 3 times all the way through. I'm not lying.
I think it's a Hattori Hanzo situation, guys. I think you just can't compare his shows to each other. You have to compare them to every show that wasn't made by Vince Gilligan.
right.
You know?
Those
But
prime lenses.
The great
Yeah.
thing that Vince Gilligan does is he really like takes a very simple premise and then just writes a fantastic story about it. Like the thing about Breaking Bad and what made it ultimately one of the more watchable shows back when we still did water cooler shows, right? Was that you could tell somebody the premise of Breaking Bad in 2 sentences.
Oh yeah.
And like that's what this upcoming show is. It's literally just like the world's most unhappy man must save the world from being happy.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. However this is going to play out, who the fuck knows? But also like Apple TV's been doing some weird shit lately, so like I never would have expected something like Severance to exist.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
Right.
and Apple TV's just been kind of going with banger after banger, according
Right.
to anyone you talk to who's watching any of their shows. It's just really good, solid shows coming out of there.
We'll
so
see if there's any money in it.
I
Yeah,
know,
that is
right?
very, very true. Next up for San Diego Comic-Con news, the creator of Rick and Morty got on stage. Dan Harmon was on stage talking about they are going to be doing a spin-off series called President Curtis.
Okay.
So this is going to be about Keith David's character, and they're just going to do a straight-up, like, president show, the president who handles international or interdimensional diplomacy. It's going to have paranormal investigations. It's going to have all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know. You're probably the biggest Rick and Morty fan in the room. So how are you feeling
I'm
about
definitely the biggest Dan Harmon fan. I mean, I've seen all of Harmon Quest. I've seen Community probably 4 or 5 times. I watched it. I happily watched it even during the gas leak year. Love Rick and Morty. I think I fell off of it right during all of the Justin Roiland drama. And I know there's more, and I know he's gone. But I just haven't picked it back up since then.
Right.
But
you watched that other show, Solar something?
Solar Opposites was also very, very well written and very cool. I don't know what became of that show either, considering I don't think Harmon had anything to do with that one.
Okay.
I think that one was just Justin. And so, I don't know what's going to happen there. But Dan Harmon, for anyone who's never seen it, anybody who plays D&D, and has people they want to get into D&D but don't know how to reveal this part of yourself to them, have them watch Harmon Quest, because it's just a bunch of celebrities that and comedians of different kinds that they might know. I mean, you have Aubrey Plaza was on an episode. You have real celebrities there all the time, and they're just playing D&D, and they're animating it slightly, but it's mostly just a shot of 5 people at a big table playing D&D together, and it's so charming and so funny and so witty and so watchable. It's just really good stuff. So, the thing about Rick and Morty and Dan Harmon and the president is the president voiced by Keith David was always kind of a joke. Until they started.
Keith David, who just got a star on the Hollywood Walk.
He did just get a star, didn't he?
Yeah,
Well deserved, and long overdue, if you ask me. But his character became more of a foil for Rick, and became if this guy has all this technology, then I'm the president of the United States. I should have all this stuff too, And this seems like fun. This seems like Dan Harmon's excuse to write a show about a cool president who kicks ass, because that's a nice fantasy to have. And I mean, I love Dan Harmon, in a format a 30-minute comedy. He has a knack for writing that most people don't. It's very solid. It's always interesting, and it always feels very clever.
Well, one of the bigger announcements to come out of San Diego Comic-Con was that Coyote versus Acme got a release date.
Oh, wow.
So the TLDR on this, if you haven't been following it in the news, was that Warner Brothers made this comedy called Coyote versus Acme. It had all the celebrities in it. Tons of money was put into making it. And then Warner Brothers crunched the numbers, and they went, it'd be cheaper if we just don't show this to people.
Yeah.
And they're we would save money by not showing this thing that we have filmed to completion. And this was kind of one of those release the Snyder Cut situations where a lot of the actors who were involved in it were like, hey, by the way, guys, test screening said this is an amazing fucking movie, and they're not going to release this movie that I'm in. And so it just kind of sat in this development pit until somebody offered them enough money to say, hey, why don't you go ahead and release Coyote versus Acme? And now we know that on August 28th, 2026, we will finally get to see this movie that was done 2 years ago.
Wow, yeah. Is it going to be on HBO or something? Who's streaming it?
I think it's going to be getting a theater release date.
Oh, okay.
Is what they're talking about. And then it'll go to probably HBO Max from there.
All right. I mean, that sounds like fun, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to see the movie. I mean, yeah, Coyote versus Acme. That sounds great. Let's get some Looney Tunes up on the screen. I don't. The shenanigans of having an entire movie created and people act in it and people spend their time making it, and then taking the tax write-off for never releasing it rather than actually releasing it and hoping it does well.
I'm sorry, did you not see The Producers?
Yes, I know. The whole Producers was supposed to be a joke.
That is very true.
I think it was a how-to guide.
Yeah,
if you watch it correctly, Hector.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely seen the producers. Definitely, the one with Nathan Lane is fantastic.
Now, the other announcement that did come out of this movie that made the entire crowd just erupt was they did spoil. They said, "Hey, by the way, Bugs Bunny does make a cameo in the movie."
I mean, fucking excellent. Yeah, good shit. I would hope so. Um, Yeah, I hate how cynical it is that we just throw away art probably for a good looking quarterly return, having no idea how well the movie will do. They just needed that money right now, so they throw away a bunch of people's hard work and art. And we're seeing this more and more where the money dictates what art people can see, and we'll be definitely diving into some more of that topic later. But it's a bad thing, I think. And even the worst piece of trash is more worthy because someone made it than any criticism of it. No matter what form that takes. So. Yeah, it's a bad look to throw art away, especially when you're taking up the mantle of being a producer of it. So yeah, it's good that this movie's coming out. It would have been better if it came out correctly and on time, but at least we're getting to see it.
Very, very true.
And I don't have to dig into the internet, into the dark web or something to go and find it.
Okay, so if you have not been following what's been going on in AMC recently, boy, do I have a story for you. So obviously, everybody knows AMC for when they had a bunch of hits, just things like Breaking Bad we were just talking about. But the biggest one probably ever was The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead, of course, the main show has ended. Now there's like 15 spinoffs of The Walking Dead. Nobody really seems to care about it. But there's another thing that's been going on at AMC that if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know that it exists. So we were about to get season 3 of Interview with the Vampire. And Interview with the Vampire is one of the best shows I have seen in the last few years. And I went into that show being so skeptical because I did read those books growing up. And so season 3 of Interview with the Vampire is going to kick off the Vampire Lestat part of the series. So the second book kicks off in the 3rd season. But that's not what I'm talking about. The thing that's the most surprising is that AMC has been building an Anne Rice universe and it's been working. We know that the Mayfair Witches is another show that is in season 2 now, I want to say, or they're about to do season 2. So that's, of course, all of Anne Rice's books were connected in the same universe. So the Mayfair Witches kind of have crossover with the Interview with the Vampire characters. And now, as of San Diego Comic-Con, we heard about this series that I had never heard of, and I read a lot of Anne Rice growing up, called Talamasca, The Secret Order. And it's kind of what's on the tin. The idea is that you're going to be following a character who joins a secret society that is very... they're almost kind of like the Watchers and Buffy is the easiest way to describe them. They know the world has supernatural things in it. And so they are kind of the keepers of that, whether that means things need to die or, whatever it is that they do. But, so we got a trailer for this show at San Diego Comic-Con and found out that the journalist Daniel from Interview with the Vampire is going to be making regular appearances on this show. We also got to see in this trailer Jason Schwartzman as an elder vampire, basically just hamming it up.
Oh, I love it.
And I'm so fucking here for it.
Yeah.
And this is me saying, please, 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 if you have not seen the first season of Interview with the Vampire, do yourself a favor. Find it. I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
The first season might be on Shudder as well. If you like the first season of that, you're gonna love the second season. Everybody's getting super excited for the 3rd season. And like I said, AMC is quietly building this Anne Rice universe out of all her books, and they're doing it good with a high production budget and care to their characters. And like Daniel from Interview with the Vampire, he's going to be a crossover character for these things. And I haven't seen the Mayfair Witches yet, but I've heard good things about it.
Okay.
So
yeah, very exciting.
Moving on from there, let's talk a little bit about the upcoming Predator film. So director Dan Trachtenberg had a big panel. Of course, if you saw Prey, Dan Trachtenberg was the director of that.
Yeah.
He was also the director of Hunter of Hunters,
which was fucking awesome.
Fantastic animated shorts. By the way, I would mean to tell you, Hector, as I learned today, Hunter of Hunters just got a new ending that you can watch on Hulu, because the movie is available on Hulu, that directly ties into Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from Predator.
Huh. Cool.
But he went ahead and talked a little bit about the upcoming Predator film that we're going to be getting here. It's going to be releasing in November while we're in Japan, actually.
Oh, right on.
This is going to be the Predator film that has a Predator as the main character. He will be with a Weyland-Yutani android played by Elle Fanning.
Nice.
In this.
Okay.
And so Dan Trachtenberg was talking about why he did what he did. And that was, I'm just going to go ahead and quote him directly. So the Predator never wins, right? They're supposed to be the greatest hunters in the galaxy, but humans seem to be really formidable and have always taken them down. But thinking of a movie where the Predator wins, I didn't really love the idea of making a slasher movie where the bad guy's the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to see if there was a way to make this feel like a really emotional and visceral journey, in one where you can connect with the Predator. So I realized there's this other thing in the franchise where there's a lot of great side characters, right? We fall in love with creatures and robots, and they're often relegated to being the sidekick or the villain, but never the protagonist. So to me, this was a bigger deal to take the Predator and put him at the forefront and make the android the side character.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. I'm right there with him. Like, I wouldn't know how to make that work, but yeah, I've always been bothered that the Predators are like, even in Alien versus Predator, like you would just, I don't know. Sometimes Predators do really stupid shit, right? But it's just, that's the type of villain they are. The same way that slashers do stupid shit.
I read a lot of Alien and Predator books as a kid,
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, as somebody who read a lot of those books, at some point it began being written into the lore that like humans were the ultimate thing.
Oh, okay.
Basically, like, because they kept losing every time they fucking come here,
Yep.
it is written into the Predator lore. There's a really great AVP book series that the original movie is loosely based on, but they did a horrible job with it.
Gotcha.
And the idea of it is they come down to hunt the aliens because that's their blooding ritual as they become adults, basically. And a young Japanese colonist, because it doesn't take place on Earth, like just whoops their asses.
Yeah.
And she then leaves and goes to live with the Predators. And she becomes one of their tribe and experiences so much racism. Like, they are so racist against humans. Like, they
Yeah.
fucking hate them. But in those books, they talk about how, like, I believe it's called the soft meat is what they're called, because aliens are the hard meat. That like the soft meat is the ultimate trophy because they're the ones that can actually kill us and like are smart enough to take us down.
Mhm.
So it has always been written into the canon of them at some point that like humans are the biggest prey.
Yeah.
But to the point here, it's really cool that we're going to see like a Predator forward movie where we get to see a Predator be a badass instead of just getting whooped.
Yeah. No, that sounds like honestly really fun.
Mm-hmm. So, a new Star Trek series was shown off at San Diego Comic-Con. Quote, Star Trek Starfleet Academy follows the adventures of a new class of cadets in one of the most legendary places in the galaxy. Under the watchful, demanding eyes of their instructors, they will discover what it takes to become Starfleet officers as they navigate blossoming friendships, explosive rivalries, first loves, and a new enemy that threatens both the Academy and the Federation itself.
Yeah, this sounds amazing. I don't know why we didn't do this a long time ago. There have been so many Star Trek spinoffs, and all anyone really wants to know is, like, what's it like to not be on a starship? Like, you have humans everywhere, and, like, we know there's an academy. We know that there's, a whole society that supports such a thing. We just tell us more about that. And, yeah, this... I haven't watched a new Star Trek series in quite a while, and I'm pretty on board for this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, I'm not a big Star Trek dude, but, a lot of my friends are, and a lot of them, like, came around to the Picard series eventually. They're like, it just starts really bad. It gets better, but, like, geez, it's rough. And they've been Paramount Plus. That's kind of the selling point of Paramount Plus is Star Trek shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of people seem to be excited about this one. Moving on from Star Trek, I want to briefly talk about a new animated film that's coming out from Warner Brothers and, of course, DC. And I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of it because I am way too white to pronounce that. But I'll give you the translated name of it, which is going to be Aztec Batman Clash of Empires.
Cool.
And it's going to be an original feature-length film that just takes Batman, and we're just going to retell Batman's whole story, but we're going to be doing it in the midst of Mesoamerica.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
we got like Aztec civilization, do they have a lot of street crime?
I don't know,
Like,
but apparently, like the basic beats are gonna get hit. That like his parents get killed, and he becomes their version of Batman.
Yeah, no, there's this thing, right? Because when we had anime Batman, it's like it's not super outside of the realm that if Batman was anime and in Japan, he's kind of a samurai already anyway. Like you might have a Joker Shogun who's doing some Jokery Shogun shit. That makes sense. I don't know what the equivalent of a Joker is here with the
A
Aztecs.
Spaniard.
Why we? Oh God! Like if it's Aztec
shit, a
Batman
European.
beating the fucking ass off of Spaniards, then I am so in. I'm so in. Kill them all.
Just I want Batman to like look at the boat, and just be like, "Oh shit, a European."
No, European. Fire the fire. Set their ships on fire.
One of the more interesting pieces of news that came out of San Diego Comic-Con was that Marvel is ending the 2099 line. Of course, this is a franchise that's kind of come and gone. It's never really been around for an extended period of time the way the Ultimate Universe was. But the 2099 comics were something I grew up with personally, and I have a lot of fondness for. My personal favorite Spider-Man is Miguel, Miguel O'Hara, who is just the wonderfully Mexican but also Irish for some reason.
Yep.
Spider-Man who was
Also kind of a vampire.
yeah, kind of a vampire, which explains a lot. Like that did it. But yeah, they're going to do a series coming out in December that's going to be the end of the 2099 series. But apparently, during the finale of this, we're going to meet somebody that's called Spider-Man 3099.
Okay.
So, is this the end of that line?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Never.
if we're just going to add a 3 instead of a 2, that's fine. I mean, that's honestly fine with me. I mean, me, you know, not being the comic reader that I wish I was, I've been looking at Spider-Man 2099 comics or 2099 anything comics since I was in like the 3rd grade.
Yep, they were my
dear,
favorite.
Dear watcher and listener, I'm 40 years old. So that's been going on for a while. And if you know, held me upside down and threatened me, I couldn't have told you that series was still running.
I weirdly read Ravage 2099.
And
Oh.
nobody knows what the fuck that
Yeah.
is. Like me, like I know what it is, and
Yeah.
probably like 5 comic YouTubers know what the fuck.
I didn't
Ravage
even get it when I
2099
was
is.
reading it, but it was interesting.
Yeah, like Doom 2099, fascinating.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they've rolled up the Age of Apocalypse future into 2099. That's become like a thing. If you look at the promotional art for the end of 2099, they've got like Age of Apocalypse Wolverine in it, where he's got like the one hand. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of sad to see it go, but it sounds like they were just like, you know what, guys, it actually might be a 2099 at some point. We should probably like,
Yeah, let's roll this forward like 1,000 years.
like, let's
Yeah.
just go from there. Yeah. Also in Marvel news, and I'm so glad to be talking about comic news every once in a while. We don't get to talk about comic news enough, and it's just great to get into it. But Matt Fraction of Hawkeye fame is going to be taking over Batman this year.
That's interesting.
Fraction is bringing back the iconic gray suit Batman, and he's saying there is a reason within the comics why Batman is going back to that outfit.
Okay.
That being said, during his big panel, and by the way, if you have not read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, if you need one comic recommendation.
Yeah, and if you think it's not your thing or you think Hawkeye is boring, I empathize with all of these opinions.
So does Matt
you might
Fraction.
have. These comics are incredible. They're funny. They're full of personality. They're incredibly well written. There is an entire issue that's just from the point of view of a golden retriever, and you just spend a whole issue with Pizza Dog and never a word is spoken because the dog only understands and thinks in thought bubbles and pictographs, basically. It's wonderful. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough.
And this is just from the mouth of Matt Fraction himself. He says that he considers Batman to be the coolest superhero of all time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he'd be the coolest, but I can respect the opinion.
Yeah.
And this is coming hot on the heels. I want to say Chip Zdarsky was working on Batman or something before that too. So a lot of these like Marvel vets went over to start working on the current run of DC. And like I said, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, one of the greatest comics to ever exist.
So good.
All right, finally this week, the biggest panel out of Comic-Con this year was a surprise panel that had George Lucas, Queen Latifah, and Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
So Believe it or not, this was the first Comic-Con or possibly convention ever that George Lucas has ever been to.
Right. Yeah, yeah. From what I understand, he does not do that at all.
Yeah. So they put on this panel, and the entire panel is about the passion project that George Lucas is currently working on, which is just called the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be opening in Los Angeles in 2026. This is a quote from Lucas directly from the panel. It says, "Society cannot exist without a common belief system, and that's where illustration is vital to show you what that means in everyday life. Science fiction is a myth, but we've made it real. Humans made it real because of science fiction books and the art that makes people say, oh, we could go to the moon. And once that idea is implemented, then we believe we can do it in science fiction. You can't depend on what we know, but you can be inspired by what we think we know." From that part of the panel, Del Toro went on to talk a lot about how he nearly lost his entire vintage horror collection in the California wildfires.
Oh.
He said there is a very good chance that a lot of his collection will be moving to the Lucas Museum. And then Del Toro went on to say, quote, "By the way, comics were the first one to punch Nazis before movies."
Mm-hmm. True that.
So the idea is that this is just a pop culture museum of sorts that Lucas is putting on that's really going to be about narrative and specifically based around like science fiction and horror and things, not just random pop culture the way that like the Seattle Pop Culture Museum is.
Right.
You know, what are your thoughts about this, actor?
I mean, this is a wonderful thing. Lucas, while you can say what you want about whatever level you think his talent reaches, has always taken very good care of not just the things that he creates, but also very good care of like the art around him. He was always very careful with new media formats when it came to Star Wars, and with how he let it out into the world and when.
Well, let's not trigger any old school Star Wars fans out there. He has pretended that a lot of things don't exist, and he has not even handed over the original prints, even though they were inducted into the Film Institute.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So watching him, decide to build something like this is really nice. We're watching a lot of our more aged, creators come to a point where they're like, I really want to leave something good behind, not just a bunch of movies I made money on, and this is I think objectively a good thing.
And not for nothing, like not to go back to the Lucas of it all. I don't know, man. Like I watched THX when I was a teenager, and like I really liked it. I was like,
Yeah, it's cool.
I was like, this man had this in him.
But which version
Like,
did you like?
I don't know, man.
Because you don't have access to the original
I just
one.
watched
guarantee
whatever
you
I
that.
could get my hands on, and I was like, man, this dude has like some indie ass shit in him. Like I still need to watch American Graffiti at some point because I just like.
It's
I
a
wanna see
good
it.
movie. Well, it could be a good movie again if they actually rescanned the original prints, but it has been 4K'd and upscaled
Right.
to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is really cool that like he's kind of taking the latter part of his life and just wanting to like house a museum to celebrate things like science fiction and horror.
Yeah.
Whereas normally those are kind of not for nothing. Like I've been to the Seattle Pop Culture Museum, and funny enough, horror is relegated to the bottom floor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of adequate, but also kind of a metaphor the way that we think about horror, right? There's a reason why people kept using the fucking term elevated horror for so long.
Right.
I was like, oh, I'm too good for horror. I watch elevated horror.
It's a
right?
genre film. I like genre
I
film.
fucking hate that term. God, I will fucking die on that hill that I fucking hate the term genre film.
It's a horror movie. It's a spooker. It's fine. It's okay to say that the point is that it unnerves you in one way or another. That could mean jump scares. That could mean long, prolonged bits of tension. But yeah, we don't need to change the label because we think our label sucks. We need to own our label.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it did help to have Anthony Hopkins and Kathy Bates come along.
Very
Yeah, it
true.
did.
Very true. All right, that's everything that we have for the news this week. But stick with us as we get into our main topic in the boss room. Grab a drink real quick. That'll be good.
All right, sounds good.
About to get real heavy, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do love Lucas and all the stuff he's contributed, especially his editor wife, who often gets forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
She ran off with a glass creator. What are those called in churches? The glass art, the
Glass arch.
art.
Art. Oh, like a stained glass window?
Yes,
Okay.
she ran off with somebody who did stained glass windows. True story.
That's funny.
But yeah, she was the person who stepped in, and she's like, "Yeah, that opening where everybody's looking at the sky at the battle, like that's dumb. I'm cutting that. And we're just gonna open with that ship, and the bigger ship coming at it, and yeah, a lot of the good decisions were her.
Yeah, no, I absolutely believe that.
Because every
It's-
good author needs a good editor.
They do. I mean, look at George Miller, right? I mean, to be married to the woman who edited Mad Max Fury Road is a fucking privilege, even if you're the guy who filmed it.
Yeah, I have. I'm very fortunate that I have a good buddy of mine who works in and around publishing, and he is actually my editor.
There you go.
He is a friend from high school. He's a great dude named Danny, and I've never been published before, by the way. I write a lot, and I've gotten some really great rejection letters telling me how great my writing is, actually, and I'm not even kidding. Like just a bunch of, this is really great, we can't publish that. But yeah, like Danny is like kind enough as my friend to just be my editor, that I'll just like send him 10 documents, and I'll be like, I don't know, man, figure it out. And he'll be like, this is good. We just got to clean you up a little bit, bro. So editors make the world go round.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, let's get to it.
Boss Room.
Hey, everyone, welcome back to the show. It's time for the Boss Room, sometimes related to the news and sometimes not. This is the part of the show where we can dive deeper into our opinions on things like this week's main topic, adult game censorship. Okay, before we start, I'm going to give you a small warning. We will be discussing games that have very dark themes, such as sexual assault. And while we will not be getting graphic about it, it is important that we approach this topic with the care that it deserves, and as such, we will not be censoring our language. Okay, there will be no unaliving of things. We're using the real adult terms for
No
things.
PDFs.
Right.
We're using adult words. This is an adult show. We need to talk about this like fucking adults, not things that are censored on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into it. Over the last couple of weeks, an Australian anti-porn lobby group pressured payment companies like Visa, MasterCard, and Stripe to refuse taking payments from websites such as Steam and itch.io due to having adult content games on their site that contained content that includes rape, sexual violence, and incest. Itch is an indie game development website that responded by immediately removing any and all adult games from their site. And it happened so quickly that many game developers only found out after it happened. Steam also began to delist games that would fall under this not safe for work banner. So, the abridged version of all of this is that a lobbyist group pressured financial institutions into refusing payment from gaming sites that had not safe for work content, and the backlash has been huge. The award-winning horror game Mouthwashing was actually even caught up in the removals, and that is a game that only implies sexual violence.
Right.
Okay. Now that we have laid the foundation for everybody, and I hope that I described that as clearly as possible because it's a complicated issue, let's get into this topic, because this is a very, very serious problem, even if you don't think that it is.
Right. So we can kind of go back a little bit with the history of, well, obviously there's Australia, and Australia has always had insane censorship rules when it comes to video games, and I don't know where that came from. It doesn't seem like a particularly large part of their culture to me, but I'm not Australian. I don't totally know. I'll ask Skillup if I ever get to meet him in real life what the deal is with that. But they've always, gone further with censorship. We won't release a game like Grand Theft Auto in our country, or if we do, it's, only available to adults under like a adults only rating, not M, but X, that sort of thing. But here's where we start to go wrong. Steam has usually, in the past, if not always, respected individual countries' bans or rating limits and said, fine, we will sell the games in your country the way that you say that we can sell them. And if you don't want a game to be available in your country, then it won't be. But here we have something far more sinister going on because when those countries say, no, don't sell the game anywhere, Steam tells them to fuck off. Kick rocks. No, you can't determine what we sell everywhere. We're a global store.
Mhm.
You know, itch.io, pretty much the same thing. But it wasn't the Australian government or a lobby group that came to them. It was the people who processed their payments. This is the problem. The problem is that if from one day to the next, itch.io can no longer accept money digitally, they're fucked. Like immediately from the beginning. It's your bank telling you as a company, hey, we don't want you to sell this anymore, and if you do, you can't keep your money with us. It tanks your entire business. So it doesn't surprise me that itch.io, which is comparatively a very small operation, caved immediately. What was that, or we can't make payroll because where's our money? It's in the bank that won't do business with us.
And Itch notoriously isn't a high income website, just so you know. It is a passion project where you can upload games and basically ask for handouts.
Yeah, you ask for handouts, you ask for people to play an early concept of your game that you want to eventually release on Steam. Tons of indies have come from there and lived the first half of their lives there and then gone on to be very, very successful. But to have this cave so quickly was, really disconcerting because as much as you want to say or be mad at, this lobbying group from Australia, what I really, really have a problem with, and especially once we get over to the Steam of it all, is that there's a credit card company telling an entire nation of people what they can and cannot purchase, or what they can and what kind of, and forgive me for using the term so loosely, but what kind of art they're allowed to see. And far be it for me to be the arbiter of what art is or isn't, but if someone makes a thing and they generally release it to the public for the purpose of its consumption, that's it's either everything is or nothing is. If high art is haute cuisine that costs $1,000 a plate, McDonald's is also art. It's just, the cookie cutter stuff. And you can say the same thing with truly terrible, like food that nobody should eat or really indulgent stuff that might actually be poison. And the metaphor that I'm losing myself here in is the pornography of it all, right? The type of thing that you would want to regulate, the type of thing that you would want to keep out of the hands of children, certainly. But to cut it off from an entire group of people altogether is something that countries only, governments only rarely dabble in because it makes people upset. But then here comes along a payment processing company saying, no, you can't do this or we will take away your ability to use money. And then we get to Steam. Probably the most successful, largest store on the planet. I mean, also, obviously, there's Amazon if you want to count.
They make like
Amazon
billions
as
of
on one
dollars
thing.
a day, basically.
But yeah, Steam is the place to go to play PC games, to play games on a PC or on your Steam Deck or however else you get your video games. If it's not a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a Nintendo, and you're playing a video game, it's probably coming from Steam. It's enormous. It makes all the money. It dictates the way that the market goes in so many great ways. It platforms indies. It makes discoverability important. It has constant sales to try and get people involved in like the community of video games and so many great accessibility options. And when faced with the same threat, this monolith of gaming websites had to say, okay, yeah, we'll remove them.
Right.
Because it's Visa. It's not, the political action committee for moms against nudity. It's Visa. You can't just tell Visa, fuck off.
I read a lot of articles in the lead up to writing up this topic because I wanted to get as many perspectives as possible. I I wanted to really understand what was going on with this issue so that we could speak to it intelligently and try and relay that information to all of you in a way that's easily digestible. The thing about it is, the thing that's not being talked about, there's a word that, for whatever reason, we were just allergic to using on all the reportings of this, and the word is precedent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for us to, from the outside, look at the games that were banned. And again, let's go through that list real quick. We're talking about sexual violence. We're talking about incest. We're talking about rape. These are all things that these games that were delisted for. And on the surface, many people morally would just go, well, yeah, we shouldn't make games about those things. Mm-hmm. And that's fine if that is the opinion that you have. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking that away from you. But precedent is the word that we need to be focusing on here. Because if we allow a financial institution to regulate our art, and I know that this will come off as a little bit extreme to people, but what is about sexual violence today will be about regular violence tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we are one step away, honestly, right now. Look, no one mourns the loss of, like, a 50-cent, anime porn game that you get, or some kind of horribly made it with horrible bad taste, like Rape Simulator, that somebody made to be edgy and threw out on Steam for a couple of bucks.
Which does exist.
Which absolutely does exist. The thing is, if we can just so easily take things like this away now, right now it's things that no one really cares that we lose, except for a small audience of people who that's their yum. And while I say yuck, it's not for me to determine what their yum is. Right. But how far away are we from going from sexually explicit things to sex at all, or to illicit substances? Is anyone doing drugs in your game? Can't have that. Drugs are illegal. Drugs are bad for you. And now we don't have Disco Elysium. Mm-hmm. And now we don't have maybe any game where an adult smokes a cigarette. Mm-hmm. Where are we going with that? And slippery slopes are, sometimes they can seem a little extreme, but it's not like we haven't seen this happen before. Mm-hmm. It's not like we haven't seen censorship go off the rails before.
This is a weird, obscure, and very old reference, but if any of you are around for In Living Color, mm-hmm. They had one of their biggest moments when they got a Super Bowl halftime show, mm-hmm. and that was great for them. But then the network started looking at them with scrutiny. I think, if I remember correctly, because of Kevin Costner was offended by some of the jokes.
Oh no!
And then they got them to pull some sketches, and then the Wayans brothers left the show, yep. And then that was it. Mm-hmm. It was over. Like, if you can get somebody to pull one thing, they can pull another. And I think South Park said it best in their Cartoon Wars episodes. If I could just get them to cancel one Family Guy episode, it's done. They're donezo. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm comfortable with rules. I'm comfortable with rules established rules and regulation. But if you start saying, this doesn't feel right, so I'm going to take it away. Yeah. Then anything can be taken away.
Yeah, right. If it's like legislation is one thing, exactly like you're saying. Rules, if we don't want this here. Okay, great. You won't get it there. But for, again, if it's the people who control the money saying, here's what you can do and here's what you can't, it's really hard to be a part of that project anymore.
So, video game history time. My favorite topic, and I love whenever I can bring it up in a discussion. Let's talk about the history of video games real quick, specifically around the ESRB and how it was created. I'm going to give you the TLDR on it because I don't want to bore all of you. I find it fascinating. But back in the 90s, there was a lot of court hearings that were going on about violence in video games, specifically around games like Mortal Kombat that were hitting the arcades at the time. But also in the same breath as these games like Night Trap were shown to Congress. Mm-hmm. You could tell that the people who were talking about this game had no idea what the fuck they were talking about, because they were like, this is a game where you spy on young women, and then if you don't save them, they get raped by monsters, and that none of that happens in that game. Like zero of that happens in that game. In fact, if you've ever played Night Trap, and I have, it's boring.
Oh, it's
It
terrible.
is
It's a bad
It
video
is
game.
an atrocious game.
It's a 3DO game.
It is so
So-
bad. It
Or
is-
Jaguar?
like,
if
it was
any of you
on the
are-
Sega CD. It was on the
Yeah.
fucking Saturn.
Yeah, because it had
was
the
on
FMVs and
Yeah.
like a glorious 140,
Right.
high like resolution.
And
playing
dear,
in a
and dear
little
listener, if
window.
you've never played Night Trap, don't. I think
it's
they
not
remade
worth
it
your time.
recently just because of the
Yeah.
infamy of the game
If
itself.
you play it, it should be in a
But-
museum.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but this was a situation where when this came up and it came to Congress, if you look at the history of video games, one of the things that you hear is that before Congress got ready to pass a verdict on how these things should be handled, basically the games industry all came together, all of them,
Hmm.
and said, we're going to do a rating system.
Yep.
Now, someday I'm going to get into the full history of the ESRB and how a lot of it was Nintendo propaganda to take Sega down, but that's a show for a different time. But what I will say is that during that Congress hearing, the ESRB was established, and the video game entity, right, comprised of so many companies, said, "Hey, Congress, we are going to self-regulate. Here's our proposed system, and here's how we're going to rate games going forward." And Congress said, "That's all we asked from you. We are good with this." And so in the 90s, we got the ESRB. And we said things like, adult games or mature games, it's not, you don't have to, but it's highly recommended you see an ID before you purchase something like this, right? You want to make sure you're not selling things like Grand Theft Auto to kids. And so we're kind of coming back around to other entities saying, well, this content exists in video games. We should be regulating that. We, the financial institution, should be regulating this thing. When the initial argument should still stand. The games industry has always regulated itself. None of these products that we have talked about so far on this show are not without either a rating, or if it is not a rating, a very clear...
Yeah, it'll have content warnings, especially if you're
Right.
getting it on Steam.
Right.
Yeah, it'll say, hey, just warning, this game has graphic depictions of X, Y, and Z.
Yes, because on Steam, if you do not put those things on there, your game will be taken down.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't. It won't go up without those things.
Right.
There is a. You can't just say post a game and upload your game. There are checks and balances that go into the things that you upload into Steam.
Yeah, and itch.io is a bit different because it's kind of more of a game dev website.
Again, it's for indies. It's for projects made by 1 to 5 people usually. And they're not even trying to publish on Steam. They're just trying to get a proof of concept out there to see if people like it.
Yeah, and so for Itch is a website. I can see why they hit the panic button and just said shut it all down, because it'd be so easy for that website to go down. But at the same time, you look at something like what they did and say, well, Itch has rules. Their rules are, if you upload something with adult content, it must say in your description what kind of adult content is in there.
Right. It's not like they haven't self-regulated.
Right. But let's get back to the main point here. The main point is that financial institutions are cutting off access to money in a way that now regulates content.
And there's no way around it. It's not like, oh, this country's doing it, so you can go somewhere else. You can sell in a different market. No, it's a global payments platform. This is how you get money through a website. That this is pretty much the only way. So, I mean, it goes from regulation, which if a government does that to you, fine. For you, with you, fine. If they give you permission to do it yourself, fine. Again, like John said, rules are good. But what I'm seeing here feels way more like bullying.
Now, that being said, this is very heavy. There's not really a light at the end of the tunnel for this that I can just end off with. I will say this, though.
I'll say fuck Visa for putting me in the position to defend rape games.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. Like, you shouldn't be involved in this at all. This is not your lane. And those people who came to you and said, hey, we need you to control this, they went to the wrong place, and that's what you should have told them.
Mm-hmm. That being said, I have been watching a small resistance online via Twitter, Blue Sky, all these things, where there are people posting videos of them doing things like calling Visa and being like, hey, can you get somebody on the line that can explain to me why you guys are regulating like porn games? And a lot of times, like they're like being hung up on.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are like slamming their customer service. Like it is not going without a fight.
Right.
And like you just said, Hector, God damn you for making me have to defend a rape game. But that's the whole point of it, right? If it's today, it's a rape game. What is it tomorrow? And I don't know, man. Looking around at the state of the world right now, we were already seeing so much that's getting really fucked up. And I'm not saying like, we need to. I'm not saying a rape game is going to fucking fix everything. I'm just saying that like it's the first domino, right?
But
Right.
also, if there are terrible people in the world, I'd rather have them behind a controller.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit, right?
Much rather have them behind a controller. So this is really heavy and it's really dark. And I'm sorry that we've had to have this conversation. A lot of our boss rooms are fun and funny and kind of a break from the news. But again, the boss room has always been about what needs to be talked about. And this week, this is what needed to be talked about. And if you disagree, I understand. This is it's a harsh stand to take, right? It's hard to say like, yeah, like I'm going to back the rape game.
Yeah.
Because like nobody wants to be that person.
Right. It's again like the Library of Congress, and people say like, oh, well, it shouldn't have X or Y. And it's like, it has everything.
Yeah.
There's a reason it has everything. It's supposed to have everything.
Right.
And I don't want to, directly compare this to, say, like burning books. But, God, and this isn't even like, we keep getting away from the point that this shouldn't be coming from a financial institution.
If there ought to be a law,
Whatever it
make
is.
a fucking law.
Yeah, if you want there to be a law, get it voted in. If it's popular, it will go through. If there's enough political pressure. I mean, statistics say that it takes like 3% of a population to really want something before government just notices and takes action. If your idea is popular, it'll work. It'll go through. Do that. But Visa, what? There ought to be a law. There ought to be a law that, payment processing companies cannot get involved in this shit. They must be neutral. Whatever net neutrality is good for, this needs to be part of it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, like I said, this is a heavy issue, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it here. I hope this was educational for you. I hope that this means something, honestly. And you know what? I hope that you have an opinion about what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
For either side of it, I hope you have an opinion, because this is a thing that doesn't need to not have an opinion about it. So yeah, I know this was rough, but that's everything for the boss room. We're going to lighten the mood again.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy ourselves, and we're going to get into what we've been playing in the epilogue.
Epilogue.
Welcome to the epilogue. It's time to dive into what we've been up to this week, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what's been occupying our free time, and what has been making us happy. John, what have you been doing?
I've been playing, I've been kind of decompressing my brain ever since all the Borderlands game. And one second. So I've been playing a lot of cute games. I've been playing like SpongeBob, and recently I started playing The Last Campfire. And I got to say, there is a weird difficulty that comes with games that are too simple. Because this game, like, there's no map, there's no instructions. You're just kind of going through and solving little puzzles to get the fire, and it's very cute. Like, you can't even control the camera, And it is fun, and I love playing all the little puzzles and stuff. But if I have to set it down for a few days and go back to it, I'm like, wait, where am I?
What was I
Where
doing?
am I on the map? What is happening right now? And it's this huge sprawling map, and there's no way to gauge where the hell you are and what's going on. So there is some weird paradoxical difficulty for games that are too damn simple.
Understandable.
Yeah, not enough bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Hector, what have you been up to, man?
Oh man, let's see. Aside from the movies that we've been watching, let me see. You know what? I watched Megan 2.0.
You're
That
the
was
one.
good.
You're the one.
It was me. It was just me. I was the one. I did not care for Megan the first one. I kind of did not care for it at all. I felt like they did show literally every kill in the trailer, and the rest of the movie that wasn't the kills was kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
Megan 2 was awesome. Megan 2 was their weird sci-fi direction that they wanted to take this horror movie about a killer, girl's, best friend doll, and make it into more of a, Aliens meets like Terminator vibe. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It made even the dolls were fun because Megan's got a bit of a mouth on her and she's got a personality. It's good. It's such a fun like popcorn like horror adjacent movie in the way that Aliens is horror sometimes, but it's mostly hoorah action and shooting. It's good. I do recommend it. I
Maybe
don't
I'll watch
recommend
that
Megan
tonight.
1. I don't recommend you watch it before you watch Megan 2. You can forget that movie exists. The second movie explains to you what happened very quickly, and then you move on.
I might watch that tonight.
It's good. Like I can absolutely tell you without any kind of so bad it's good. It's just good. It's just a fun movie. Let's see. I finally started playing Clair Obscur again. I'm about to finish Act 2. It's still very tightly right at the top of my Game of the Year list, even though I'm maybe a little over halfway through it.
Have you been exploring the mansion?
Yes, I have been exploring the mansion. I've found a couple of secrets. I found a little tunnel behind a bathroom mirror. And I found the puzzle.
I don't think I got the bathroom mirror one. I think I saw somebody on TikTok go like, "Oh yeah, this would be so funny if I shot the bathroom mirror and there was something behind it." And I went, "Wait, there's something behind it."
Yep. And then there's a puzzle by the piano.
Yep.
With all the little candelabras that you need to rotate. Yeah. Man, what a great game. Everything about that game is just amazing.
We
And,
are going to be doing a whole ass Clair Obscur episode when we're done.
This is a kind of just a perfect home run type of thing where sometimes the game industry needs a certain type of game, and even if it doesn't know it needs it, and then it just lands.
A
right
lot
where
of
it
our
was meant
favorite
to.
YouTubers that I've been watching talk about this. Skillup said it, but several other people have said it as well. They've called it a generational game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the type of game that even if they don't mean to, creators will be borrowing from for probably the rest of our lives.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's aside from the theater movies we've seen, that's all I got for now.
Okay. So I want to talk about a couple things real quick. Finished Death Stranding 2. It really good. Really had a good time. It made me do a big sad. There's a lot of sad in Death Stranding 2. It is not a happy game. It starts sad, and God, I feel like it ends pretty fucking sad too. And that's saying something because I played Clair Obscur.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2, absolutely fantastic, absolutely worth your time. Everything that they do quality of life wise, thank you, Kojima, for listening and doing that. It makes me happy. I love that melee is a really viable option. It's not only a really viable option in Death Stranding 2, it's the only way to kill robots in some places.
Oh,
like
okay.
the robots' weaknesses are melee. That blew my fucking mind when I figured it out, by the way. Because there's the first time you fight these ghost robots, and this is really early into the game. First time you fight them, I must have had 20 guns on me. And I was like, oh, it's like a fucking Looney Tunes episode. Let's fucking just start pulling guns out and shooting. And they do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then at some point I killed one, and I killed one by running over it. Just 50 billion miles an hour just rammed this thing, and it died. And it dropped something called a ghost blade. And I was like, why would I attack anything with a sword? Forgetting this is Kojima we're talking about. he loves cyborg ninjas.
Oh yeah, he does.
And so you like pick the blade up off the ground, and like mentally I could just hear like samurai music start. And then I like attacked one of the robots, and he died in like 2 hits, and I was like, oh. What appears to be the most difficult route to taking things down is in fact the easiest.
That's the way to do it.
Tons of fun. Had a really good time with it. I want to get into the movie that we were really excited for. I've been in a horror binge recently. We're right around the corner from my turn at the movie Wednesday movie night. So I've been playing a lot of catch up on movies that I've been missing so I could make our selection for what we're going to be watching this year. Big recommendation for if you have Shudder. There's a movie called Deadstream on it. Deadstream is if you're not down with the premise of this movie, you're not going to like it. I'm going to tell you right now. Because it is a completely shot as a live streamer.
Oh.
The premise of the movie is a really famous live streamer, like very Dr. fucking what's his name, gets canceled.
Mr. Beast, yeah.
He gets fucking canceled, and so his comeback tour is, hey, I'm going to spend a fucking night in a haunted house. This movie is not a high budget movie. And I need you to understand, Internet, that as somebody who's a fan of horror, I can appreciate a low budget horror movie. And this movie is so inspired by Sam Raimi that it hurts. And I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but like literally one of the jump scares in the movie is he like moves a sheet that's on his lap and there's a demon between his legs and it bites his dick. Like it is the most Sam Raimi. You can see the makeup lines in some of the fucking spots. It is a horror comedy. It's fucking, as long as you are okay with like the premise of like I'm watching a live streamer movie. But this definitely feels like it's not a Hello Kids kind of situation. This feels like a live streamer movie that was made by somebody who watches live streams. This is what I talk about when I talk about how technology in horror is good, actually. We just haven't had writers and directors who have learned how to write around technology. This is a movie that writes around the technology, that writes with the technology, not around it. Highly recommend it. It's on Shudder. 5 skulls on Shudder. Absolutely worth it. Really good time. We're going to talk about Fantastic Four very briefly. It's going to be no spoilers, obviously. We are not going to spoil anything. But before we do that, one of the things that I say when we talk about the things that we've been up to this week is I always end it with what's been making us happy. And something that has been making me happy is a gift from Hector, whether he knows it or not. The other night, we were playing Marvel Rivals together. And you, as we often do, link each other music while we're all playing because we have a regular after-work meetup group with our friends. And he was like, listen to this song by this band called The Punctuation. The Punctuation is a band that has 90 monthly listeners on Spotify. So just take a second to process that.
Little indie band.
Like it is a very, very tiny little indie band.
Just a BB.
And I listened to one of their songs, and I was like, this is so good. This is so, the one that you linked me, this is so much fun. I'm just going to put the album on. I have not turned the album off for the last 2 days. The number 1 song on Spotify, if you look this song up, like look up the band The Punctuation, is a song called Down With the Thickness. Let's just take a moment to process that, guys. That is the name of the song. It is a fun band. The songs can go from being super serious, like the I think it's the Drug, Sex, and Violence album is like a little bit more serious, and yet it has like ska moments in it. Oh, okay. But also they can get kind of Johnny Cash with how dark it gets. But also a lot of it's just stupidly fun. Again, why would your number 1 song be called Down With the Thickness? And I just want to get some ears on this band because they're a lot of fun, and I think more people need to listen to them. So that's what's been making me happy. So now we will very briefly, no spoilers, we went and saw the Fantastic Four. Hector, what'd you think?
Fantastic Four was fucking awesome. You should go watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got. Whatever your reason is, if you haven't seen it yet, I can't really think of any maybe you're not really into Marvel movies. That's fine. It's very different from most Marvel movies.
It's its
in
own
that
thing.
You don't need any pre-knowledge or foreknowledge of any kind. The movie explains everything to you, and you're not going to get a bunch of other characters showing up. We got like a retro future 60s vibe going on with everything. It's all just mid-century modern and beautiful and sci-fi while still being
It is a comic book movie that loves the fact that it comes from a comic book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it never shies away from what it is. The characters aren't quipping. All of the drama it's very family drama, but it's also all very healthy. No one's an asshole, no one's toxic, no one's a taker. Everyone is helping, but they're not the same person. They argue, they have different ideas about things that should be done. The character of Reed, God, Richards is just so, like, there's a lot of psychology to this character that very rarely comes through in any of the movies. That Pascal just nails. There's a gentleness and a guilt to him, but also a bit of a mania and the knowledge, if not the conceited idea that he's the only one that can save everybody. It's just all the characters are spot on. They're great. They're given a lot to do. Every character is given a lot to do. I had a wonderful time.
Everybody gets something to do.
Yeah.
And this is just, and I won't spoil anything, but my biggest concern going into this movie was oftentimes when the Fantastic Four is on screen, Sue tends to be the weakest character. And that's a shame because in the comics, she's so brilliant. Like, there's a reason why she's with Reed. Like, they're both brilliant in very different ways. She used to be a fucking, like, spy for S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, very, very good at what she does. And putting her in a position in this movie where she's like a world political leader fits the character. Sue gets time to shine finally. And thank God for that because she fucking deserves it. And she's always just been the fourth member of the Fantastic Four. I love that the version of Reed that we're seeing is the young, awkward, but intelligent Reed. A lot of Reed Richards' interpretations in the modern day have been very much kind of been in a post-Civil War world where Reed is the most intelligent man in the world and he knows better than everybody else. And it's very Tony Stark in a lot of ways. Like, I make bad decisions for the greater good.
Yeah, a bit of a psychopath, bit of a well. Here I'm the one doing the math, so $1 million for $1 billion.
So I haven't seen it. It looks fantastic, but they couldn't find any natural blondes to cast.
I can't imagine that matters at all.
Yeah. No, does not matter whatsoever. I will say this version of Galactus just fucking slaps.
Oh, Galactus was amazing. I'm always so and we Galactus is a goofy fucking character in a goofy fucking premise, and while in all reality it would be terrifying, usually on screen, even the small screen in a cartoon, it comes off a little goofy. This came off fucking menacing and terrifying in all the best ways.
And he had character too.
He did have character. Yeah.
Like, he does what he does by the end of the movie, and you're like, I see why he's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, they gave him a character arc as small as it was.
Yeah, we came away. One of our best friends, Erin, just always humors us and goes to the movies with us whenever we go. And she's, she tolerates all of the Marvel stuff we drag her to, and usually she has it was okay opinion about these movies. But after this one, she came out going, I did not like Galactus. That was creepy. And I'm like, yeah, right. That was good. Galactus.
Yeah,
was
she had
awesome.
very strong opinions about everything in the movie, and it was cool because I was like, because it's another reality, you don't have to worry about all the other baggage from other Marvel stuff on it. It was just nice.
Yeah, no homework, just
yeah,
a movie.
No homework. Like, we were sitting through the credits going like, they're going to tie this into everything else, right? Like, they're going to do that, and then they just don't.
No, they just don't. It's like, yeah, we'll see these guys again. Don't worry about it. But that's the end of the story.
Much like Superman, and again, we're not going to tell you what happens, but it's another great instance where we've given up on having to have the serious end credit scenes. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
The fact we had to sit through the end credits to know what's going to be coming up next, and now we're just back to having fun with end credit scenes.
I don't live in LA anymore. I'm done with that life.
There you go. But yeah, Fantastic Four, absolutely great. Do watch it. I would highly
Watch it.
recommend seeing it in theaters. If you have an IMAX near you,
Oh God, yeah.
it is a very different experience in IMAX.
Yeah, if you have the full sized IMAX, watch it.
Yeah, they make Galactus size
Yeah.
in that. So I mean, we just saw it at the Draft House, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to go see it in IMAX just to see what the
Have
full
to drive
fucking
to
shot.
Dallas.
Right? Nobody wants to do that. All right, that's everything that we've been up to this week. Thank you for tuning in this week. This was a very heavy episode. It was talking about this main topic was not easy, and I thank all of you for sticking with us through it. The idea of censorship in video games being controlled by financial institutions is something that we should all have on our radars, even though it seems dumb to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, resist that shit.
Yeah, absolutely
1,000
resist
times.
that shit. That's everything that we have for the show this week. Don't forget that you can head over to goodnight.gg to become a patron of our show. You can head over to facebook.com/GNGGcast where you can chat with us, as well as at GNGGcast on Twitter and goodnight.gg on Blue Sky to talk to me directly.
And we're on YouTube. If you're listening,
Yeah.
please swing on by.
Likes
Yeah.
and follows, guys. That would be great. That does a lot for us because we desperately need those actually.
Oh yeah, please hit us with those.
Yeah. And don't forget that you can join our Patreon for just $1, where we are going to be talking about every single episode of Tales from the Crypt. We are 3 episodes in. It's a lot of fun.
So good.
All right. Until next time, for Hector, this is James.
For James, this is Hector.
And for you, this is me.
Everyone, good night.
And good game.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Night, y'all.
We are ending the stream.